speaking of disrespect, that's what Ezekiel Elliott felt, was coming from the Cowboys camp, going back to last Saturday when Jerry Jones said, Zeke who? And of course, Jerry, we played it for you yesterday. Jerry's like, I have earned the right. Write this down. I have earned the right. I have earned the right. Much like, your grandpa's like, I have earned the right to be called Mr. Gottlieb, right? I have earned the right to joke about Ezekiel Elliott. So the latest in the Cowboys versus their running back saga is this. Ed Werder, he always has more. Ed Werder, who's back at the mothership, right? Ed Werder tweeted out that the latest contract offer between the Cowboys and Ezekiel Elliott falls somewhere below that of Todd Gurley, above that of LeVeon Bell. And they are at an impasse. Now, I'm guessing, and this is an educated guess, but still a guess, that the tweet came from sources within the Dallas Cowboys. Right? The tweet came from sources within the Dallas Cowboys because there is kind of an exact amount, not in terms of dollars, but we kind of get a sense it falls between the 13 and the 14. And it does paint the picture of Jerry Jones having reached his limit and he feeling disrespected. Matter of fact, I'm sure he feels like Ezekiel Elliott is one of the things that no one wants a child to be, no one wants an employee to be, no one wants a friend to be, no one wants a lover to be, no one wants anyone to be. Ungrateful. Ungrateful. Now, what happens in our PC culture is if I tweeted out that Ezekiel Elliott is ungrateful, I would get a response from the far left idiots of Twitter that would say, a typical white billionaire owner wants black football player to kiss his feet and take less than he demands and wants him to be grateful for the pennies he's spending him. But the true context of this is Jerry stood by all his guys. You go back and look, Michael Irvin stood by him. Even post-retirement and Deion Sanders playing for other teams, Deion Sanders stood by him. There have been players said negative things about Jerry, and Jerry has not come out and crushed them. Jerry stood by Romo during his first season, and by the way, rightfully so. They should have played Romo and not Dak in the playoffs. Jerry has stood by his guys through thick and through thin, through knucklehead and solid citizen. And for Ezekiel Elliott, in the context of this story, he built a system so that Zeke could be successful. And I'll grant you that it's not Jerry as the architect, but if we're going to give Jerry any credit, we should give him credit for fostering a system that has allowed the growth of his running backs. Nothing happens in the football or the business office, the Dallas Cowboys, without at least the express approval of Gerald Jones, INC. Additionally, when the commissioner wanted to take a season away from Ezekiel Elliott, he went to the mattresses. Jerry Jones did. I'm going to go to the mattresses. Mattresses is a Godfather reference. If you don't know it, I feel really, really bad for you. You need to go watch The Godfather. It's not too dated a reference. He went to the mattresses. He tried to get Roger Goodell fired. It was a coup d'etat. That's what they tried to do. They tried to usurp the power. I love the word usurp. Usurp the power of the commissioner of the National Football League unsuccessfully. And of course, the retort from the commissioner was he got a contract extension. How you like them apples, Jerry? Jerry Jones went to the mattresses for Ezekiel Elliott. And by the way, I'm sure he went back to the mattresses after the nonsense in Vegas that happened over the offseason as well. By the way, we're in a time of the Me Too movement. We're in a time where finally men have locked arms with women and said, enough of domestic violence. Keep your hands to yourself. If not, you can't play professional sports. He went against all political correctness, all culture, and stood by his guy. And now he offers him slightly less than what everyone deems to be a bad contract with Todd Gurley. And though it's at the same time that Todd Gurley got his deal done last year, it's also a year later after we've seen Todd Gurley not produce nearly at the level he should in the playoffs. Matter of fact, they found C.J. Anderson off the street. But he doesn't have to do this with Zeke. Zeke's under contract this year, under contract next year. We're not even getting into the franchise tag. This is not a LeVeon Bell situation where LeVeon Bell was a free agent. Nope. And so while Zeke let it out that he felt disrespected by a joke that everyone knew to be a joke about Tony Pollard making, allowing the Cowboys for at least a game to forget about the talents of Ezekiel Elliott, Jerry feels even worse than being disrespected. He feels like Ezekiel Elliott is ungrateful. Right? If there's things you want to teach your kids to be, teach them to be respectful, teach them to be grateful. Like my greatest pride as a parent and my greatest pride as a coach. Last night, I had tryouts for my basketball program. I had 22 or so kids in one session. And I would say about 13 of them came up and said, "Thank you, coach. That's all you really want. That's all you really want." I gave up 2 hours of my time with my family. My 3 kids are still on vacation before summertime, to work some kids out, to continue to load up and help just teach basketball. I try not to lose money, but I don't make money out of the deal. And all you want is someone to be grateful. Jerry has taken the Dallas Cowboys, America's team, from the brink of bankruptcy to being the most valuable franchise in all of American sports. He's built a palace to both play in and another palace to practice in. He takes care of his guys on and off the football field during and after they play. And when they get into a kerfuffle, even with the commissioner of the National Football League, he has their back. And in an effort to paint the picture of what's really going on, he signed Jalen Smith to talk about the size of the pie. Not as much pie left. And now he lets us in on the fact that, look, we didn't offer him to be the top paid running back, but the second highest paid running back above that of LeVeon Bell, and we don't actually even have to do this deal. And this guy hasn't shown up to work out. My guess is that Jerry Jones has gotten to the point where he feels like Ezekiel Elliott is ungrateful. And that is a hard thing to erase. It's also a hard barrier to push, because if Jerry Jones relents and pays him more, what then for Dak? What then for Amari? What then for Byron Jones? These guys aren't idiots. They sense weakness, much like raptors, and they sick on it. We got a lot to get to. NFL rules expert Mike Pereira joins the show upcoming next. What's the preseason been like for the officials with the new replay policy on pass interference? And what will we see differently this year in the National Football League? Remember, last year, it was about the use of the helmet, and people lost their minds in the preseason. We haven't heard as much about that this year. The king of all replay officiating on national television, Mike Pereira, joins us next. Hi, I'm Doug Gottlieb from Fox Sports Radio, and you need to subscribe to the Fox Sports Radio YouTube channel where you can hear and see me. Why not? Plus, everybody else who's awesome here in Fox Sports Radio.